All right, so now we can get to the business of the day. We have some AJ Hinch quotes. And look, our rule has been this. We're going to handle things in real time, but we can't say things with finality until the offseason wraps up. Now, thus far, the Tigers have been largely silent. And the one thing they did, I don't think anybody was real hopped up on, which is sign a guy who was thinking of retiring and make it look like a gross overpay, which is Alex Cobb. Well, AJ Hinch had quotes, and I want to read these to you. And I want you to tell me if you believe this team's doing everything it needs to do to accomplish AJ's goal. Quote, I think the biggest challenge for a young team, and I've seen it before, is not looking backwards as you're trying to progress. We can't repeat last season. We're not trying to repeat last season. We're trying to do better. We want to win the AL Central. So my snarky response would be, then act like it. But I'm not going to do that. Let's do a topic, not me being a smartass.
I think we all said the same thing, Mike, but you can continue.
Okay. No, brother, I just would like to know, do you believe they're already in a position to do that? And that we have somehow underrated them? That the things we want are not commiserate with winning the AL Central? Or what could they do that would make you believe they are acting that way? Now, for instance, I know in the notes here, and I think, David, you wrote it in here, is, hey, is it Bregman or bust? I'm going to say no to that because I have a rule. I generally don't. I'm not myopic about my pursuit of players. I'm in pursuit of the idea. I'm in pursuit of the production. I don't like look, Cookies and Rieger fell in love with Matt Chapman last year. I was never in love with Matt Chapman. I like the idea of a Matt Chapman. And he ended up a 7-WAR player last year. The point is, I'm not going to say if they don't get Bregman, it's bad. No. But it would have to be a Bregman or a Sasaki or, I don't know, does Flaherty come back? Part of it is it would have to be any right-handed bat that's just highly impactful.
Right.
But I want to know where you're at. And I mean, Rico, I'm not mad if people go, look, they could win the Central without doing anything. I don't agree with you, but I'm not going to be angry about it. But when you hear AJ's quote, Rico, do you think the franchise is acting in a way to deliver on what he's talking about?
No, I don't. The franchise is it's not lining up with the words. They're talking the talk, but they're not walking the walk. And yeah, I was the one that said, is it really becoming Bregman or bust? Or for me, the biggest one is, how come you haven't handled your in-house stuff yet? Like, what's taking so long with Skubal? Okay, I realize that maybe I'm the only one right now that's a little bit worried, and most Detroiters are like, they'll handle that. But as each day passes, you wonder, why hasn't this gotten done? Once again, if you're trying to win the AL Central, it all starts and begins with him. He's locked up, and now maybe when him being locked up, maybe you can attract other people who says, yeah, I would love to be on that same staff. I would love to be the number 2 or number 3 guy on that Tigers pitching staff and pitch alongside Tarek Skubal. So no, they're talking the talk, but Mike, it feels like to me they think that they can squeeze the same magic that they got at the end of last year this season, and I don't think that's sustainable.
Agree. 248-539-9797. And again, AJ is saying what he has to say. I mean, what manager is not going to talk about, hey, I want to win the Central? But if your offseason so far has been Alex Cobb, that's not winning division move. Everyone knows they went into this offseason desperately needing right-handed bats. I'd argue you need 2 of them. But I try to be a nice guy about things, and I go, you know what? Get me one impact bat. One. Give me one guy that's a 5-6 WAR player. Just give me that right-handed bopper, and we'll figure the rest out, right? Batting chaos. They haven't done it. And I don't know that they'll do it. And I get concerned. Look, all I can tell you on the Bregman thing, Rico, is, yeah, I'm a baseball nerd about stuff. It sounds like the Red Sox are getting everyone on the same page, and they would put him at third, and they'd move Raffy to first, and they would trade Casas and get another arm. And, you know, and again, the ballpark plays to Bregman far better than Comerica. But it can't be, you know, Paul Goldschmidt, 1 year, $10 million. It can't be that. Like, I'll give you an example. For instance, If the Yankees signed Goldschmidt, well, that's different. It's their fourth best addition of the offseason, not their only one. You know, the Yankees went out and got Bellinger for a song. They got Devin Williams. They got Max Fried. Goldschmidt becomes like veteran presence guy to blend in at first base. Here, we'd have to prop him up to be, we need you to be a borderline MVP to help this offense. You see what I'm saying? Like, I just need to see them make moves. Like you know what? You're right in saying what you said about Skubal. Signing Skubal still counts as an expenditure. It's not an addition, but it's a move that makes you feel like we're going to be serious about our business. So you're right to say it. I just view it as secondary to add players. What are we doing? Now, time's not out. Rico's not saying they're done. I'm not saying. I want to know when you read that A.J. Hinch quote. A.J. said that at the winter meetings, and it's like, okay, well then what are they doing to make you believe that that's actually the goal? And what could they do for you to believe? 248-539-9797.
See, guys, here's the thing, and I have to react to right here, right now. Things could change. They could go out and get the bats that I want. They can go out there and get the starting pitcher that I want. But right now, on December 18th, a week till Christmas, I'm missing my Christmas gift. I'm missing the bat, whether it's a third baseman, whether it's a first baseman, or someone that can hit. And then I'm also missing a pitcher. When Reese Olson right now is, on paper, your second starter, and he has injury issues. We've seen it, what happened last year. I need something, and everything doesn't line up. You hear AJ's quote, you read it, and you're like, but I just don't see the actions meeting each other here with words. It's not meeting. No, and that's the problem that I have today on the 18th.
Yeah, none of it lines up. And look, again, I mean, I saw an ESPN prediction yesterday. I don't know how much credit you want to give that or, credence you want to put into it. But, they're like, we think Flaherty could double back and be a Tiger for $115 million. I mean, you'd feel differently, right? But it still wouldn't fix the bats, and specifically right-handed. I mean, I could make a case to you guys, if you made two legitimate additions in free agency, right-handed bats, this could be a top 10, top 12 offense because of the lineup balance and because of some of your chaos and some of your switching. But I'm telling you, you just have no balance on this roster, and they need a few right-handed bats. And I'm waiting. I love where AJ's head is at. You're right. The only thing we're going to care about here on out is AL Central titles. And part of it, I'm open about it. They haven't won the division in 12 years. 10 years, right? 10 years. So, yeah, I love the fact the manager's talking the talk. I need the organization to walk the walk. And I keep hoping every day that something's going to, pop up in the universe that the Tigers have gotten involved on X or this trade. Or look, we're going to blink, guys. It's going to be January. Winter meetings come and go. The initial rush of free agency comes and goes. And then you end up in a little bit of a lull. And they could make some moves pre-spring training, and that's what we're all praying for. But, it's a very weird start to things. It's almost like, by Scott Harris's own words, Rico, they were taken aback by the pricing.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's once again, Mike, we've talked about it. They're trying to do this on the cheap instead of going out there and trying to be like a contender.
Feels like, seems like, sounds like.
Feels like, yes, you're correct. Thank you for that. But it feels like, seems like, sounds like that you see other teams. And once again, I'm not asking you to be the Yankees. I'm not asking you to be the Mets or the Dodgers or teams like that. But to make that statement saying that you want to win your division, act like it and go out there and don't be afraid to spin. Looks like, seems likes. Just go out there and please. And like I said, for me, it starts at home. And I know it's not a signing, but it actually is. You read in the paper, Skubal locked up 5 years, whatever, 200 million. Great. Let's move on. Let's go sign somebody else. Let's go do whatever. If you want to be a big boy, it's like dress the part dress for the job that you want, not for the job that you have. And I need them to start dressing that way. Seems like.
Yeah.
Feels like.
Here's the only thing I got on Skubal. And again, Rico and I think, have been ahead of it. I know we've been made fun of by other people, but I've just told you, if they play this thing out and Skubal's healthy, he's going to want a megaton. And I brought up 10 years and $400 million. Well, here's your headline. He could be pushing for the largest pitcher contract in history. Let that sink in for a second. So basically, yeah, he's under control for the next 2 years. But after that, if you don't extend him before then, you're staring down the barrel of a gun. And look, Juan Soto just got $765, and there'll be someone who gets a bunch more. But when you look at this, I mean, it's going to get to a point of what? I mean, Yamamoto signed for $325. So that's where I started getting the 400 from. Garrett Cole signed for $324. And if Boris has this idea that if the Tigers don't pay a hell of a lot for him right now and we're taking it the whole way, you will be put in a very uncomfortable spot. So when you want to know why Rico's obsessive about, the Skubal thing, I don't think he's wrong, guys. I don't. I've been pushing for it since last year. Get him signed or get him gone, because I'm not going to play this game where I got to wait 2 years and then pay this guy when he's 29 and pay this record-breaking deal. Pay him now. Pay him now and get it done. If he doesn't want your money, then it means he doesn't want to be here. So Rico, it's not like I need to defend you. I was just making a point. I don't want people to think it's irrational when we're talking about adding, but the Skubal piece is about intentionality. It's about showing your intention, showing you're real, showing you're in this. So that's all. 248-539-9797. We get some ticket text, couple of calls, move to a football today. And then Rico's going to cut it loose top of the hour because he's come to the dark side. I got to find an Obi-Wan Kenobi quote that is going to summarize Rico coming to the dark side. I knew you would always be a Sith, something of that nature. Listen.
I feel like the third base coach right now. I'm telling them, stop. Stop.
Aha. I can't wait. I'm going to get my popcorn.
To defy the odds, you have to risk everything and take chances. At Old Nation Brewing Company, we did just that. From an unknown startup brewery to standing alongside national craft brands in just under a decade, we remain one of the last of the large, independently owned breweries in Michigan. Our beer is respectfully brewed using only the highest quality ingredients, and we don't cut corners. With the times changing for everyone, one thing that stays the same is Old Nation's respect for great beer and the people who love it. We're growing in cans produced and fans made. When you taste our beer, you'll know why.